this list. So you'll get all sorts of cool things. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to do other things. I mean, obviously there's going to be some times when you just go ahead and call a partner up or you're proactive with it, but a lot of this is going to happen just as a result of having this list. So in order to build this list, of course, we need this giant machine that just flew in behind the list to help feed this list. That's the whole purpose of the machine, is you're building the list, building the list. In fact, once you've got the list, you could almost like break the machine and you'll still make sales for the rest of your life. Once you've got the list, you don't need to be amazing at all the things I'm going to teach you, although you will be, so you'll be able to build a bigger and bigger list, and it just gets more and more fun, ultimately. So this machine is going to be pouring new subscribers into your list over time. So let's take a look at what that is. So the first thing, and we've talked about this before, is this thing that we call a squeeze page. This is basically some page or some internet web page out there in the ether that people can actually opt in with. They can, this little red box here shows where you can put your name, email, and phone number, and then that's what we call an opt-in. So people end up on this page and they want what you're offering, and then they enter their information, and then guess what? Now they're on your list. That's really all there is to it. If you get anybody who has any idea how to set up a website on the internet, somebody that you'd pay $15, $20 an hour for, they can set this up for you. So this is not rocket science. That's what we call an opt-in. So that little page creates opt-ins into the list. Then you can sell to that list and you can create sales. This making sense? I hope it is. Okay, so now the big question marks here, or the small ones, I guess they're not that big. I should have made those bigger. Anyway, so those question marks are really there to remind me that you're probably asking the question at this point, but why are people going to opt in? Why are people going to sign up on my list on this little page? Am I going to be like super influential? Am I going to write some kind of tricky copy that's going to get them excited? Like, what am I going to do to convince them to opt in on my list? Am I just going to offer them a newsletter and they're just going to magically do it? Well, the answer is no. They're not going to opt in on your list if those are the types of things that you're trying to do to get them to opt in. The reason they opt in is because you offer them an ebook, like this How to Run a Coach Mastermind that you can read anytime. It's a short little ebook, and I could offer that as an incentive to get people to opt in. Or, like I've done for a year and a half now, really cool videos on a free video blog, which is one of the reasons you may be watching this video right now and working with me, right? So these are what we call incentives. And when they opt in on the list, they're really opting in so they can get that incentive or those incentives from you. And the better your incentives, the easier it is to grow your list. The less valuable your incentives are, the less clear you are about communicating what those incentives are, the less exciting your incentives are to the people that are actually thinking of and considering opting into your list, the harder it is to get this list built. So your incentives, you got to concentrate on having awesome free incentives, because they're really not free. They're paying with their time, their energy to opt in. They're paying with their email if it's a valid email. I mean, how much time are they going to waste getting emails from you? They're wondering about that. They don't know that you're not going to ever bother them with some waste of time email. They have no idea, because there's competition on the web that is capturing people's emails that have taken advantage of that, and they haven't done good business. So you got to have an awesome incentive to get a valid email, and that list plus the incentive is the key to this system, really. Because over time, you can offer more incentives. And you can offer, like in this case, like another video, then another video. And as you offer those incentives, a couple things happen. First of all, the people on your list will come back to your site to check out those incentives. Plus, they'll want to stay on your list because you're continuing to offer even better and better stuff. So does this make sense? Because, hey, what happens when people opt into your list? Well, what we know over time is that then they opt out, because they got the incentives and they're like, well, I don't want to hear from this person. I'll go back to their site when I feel like it. And then they just opt out of your list and you lost them. So what will keep them around is is keep giving them incentives, and they check out the incentives and they say, well, I want to stay on this list. Or even better, they want to opt in with a different email. They want to opt in with a more private email, let's say, that they only let certain people have. I mean, don't you have 2 emails? I mean, most people do nowadays. They have their public email that they just hand out to everybody. Then they get like 400 emails a day on that one because everybody's spamming them. And then they have their like private email that nobody else knows about except for like their closest 20 friends or their closest business associates or whatever. And that's the list that you want to get on because they check that list, like they check that email account like 3 times a day or more. The other one they check like once a week when they want to just feel good about themselves because they got a zillion emails, right? So when people first opt in, they probably aren't going to give you the best email. They're probably going to give you like a secondary email or maybe not even a real email. But once they get that incentive or once they get another email from you that gets them an even better incentive, they're probably going to come back and give you an even better email, especially if you throw up an interest list or something like that for a special launch you're doing. So it's not just the list, it's your relationship with the list that you're developing, and that means really good incentives and then opportunities for them to opt in again to add a better and better and a closer email list. By the way, I do this all the time. I mean, if I want to get an incentive, I'll just put in my regular email and I'll get the incentives and check it out. And yeah, eventually I'll get around to checking the emails from them as well. But if I notice that after I've opted in, that they really treated me with respect and they gave me some really good stuff, after a while, once I see that, wow, this is really awesome stuff, they got some of the best stuff I've seen on the videos they offer, on the PDFs that they offer, or whatever they're offering, I'm actually going to actively give them my more private email. And so I've got maybe 5 or 10 key lists that I'm a part of with my private email versus like probably the 50 lists I'm a part of in my more public email. And a lot of people are doing that, so you want to be ready to offer more incentives. And it's not before they opt in that is the key, although that's important too. It's after they opt in and how you treat them with those ongoing incentives. So make sure that you handle that part that's in the machine. So now, again, I got my little reminder with my little question marks. One of the questions you might be asking is, well, this looks really fantastic. I mean, you could get people to opt in, and you got an incentive, and they keep coming back for more, and they like you more and more every day. But how do you get people to show up on this squeeze page? I mean, do I have to go to some networking mixer every day and hand out business cards that have that squeeze page on it so people will go opt in? And by the way, you could do that. I mean, that's it's kind of combining an old school strategy with a new school strategy. But I'm going to show you how you can get massive amounts of people to show up at this list or at this squeeze page, that is, so you can at least give yourself a chance to get them to opt in on your list. So the way that you're going to do that instantly, you could literally do this within 24 hours, is you're going to get a Google AdWords account. You're going to advertise on Google. Or hopefully in addition to, you also can do that on Facebook, and Facebook is a huge opportunity to do advertising on Facebook as well. You can pick the demographic that you want to advertise to. It's a really good opportunity, so I would suggest you actually use both of these, and you can generate traffic to this squeeze page, and that's what we call PPC advertising, or pay per click. Okay, let's take a break here. I'd like to invite you to go to coachestrainingblog.com, and once you put in your name and email address, you'll be taken to the blog where you can watch the rest of this video. And if you're interested in growing your coaching business and learning the specific plans on how I grew my business to over $30,000 a month, I know you'll want to watch the other free videos. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of other techniques we use beyond this one, and the other videos contain some of the higher level principles that will allow you to impact globally as a highly paid coach. You'll also be notified as I post new additions to our free digital video training library, along with case studies of coaches who went through our coaches training no more than a year ago and are now making $128,000 per year and beyond using our Coaching Quick Start system. So again, simply go to coachestrainingblog.com and opt in to see the conclusion of this video. I'll talk to you again soon. Please share this with others, or even rate this video if you liked it. Even if you didn't, please share any questions you have in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think.